Hello dear students. In our lesson today we're going to deal with some workbook exercises. So we're going to revise some of the vocabulary that we did during the lessons and some grammatical exercises. Let's start. Take a look at the first exercise. We are given the words and we need to put them in the three categories. So music, books and film or theater. Be careful, there is one extra word. So, if you think that this word does not belong in any of these three categories, then we're going to find it out and select it in the end. So let's start. Art gallery. Take a look. Do you think that we can put it in one of those categories? Maybe yes, maybe not. Let's see. No, I don't think so. So let's move on to the next one. Bestseller. When we're talking about bestseller books, we're talking about those books that are widely sold and that these people that have written them are really proud, let's say, of what they have done, they've written. Concert. When we're talking about concert, we're talking about, of course, music. Let's move on. The director. The director can be found in films, the person that directs the film. Fiction. When we're talking about fiction, we're talking about, it could be other books, it could be films as well. Let's say that we're talking about a book that has to do with fiction. Hit. It is the music, that piece of music that is widely listened by the people. It has become a hit, we say. Literature. Of course, it has to do with books. Let's move on. The novel. Again, we're talking about novels, we're talking about books. Opera. The opera is in music, of course. Play, we're talking about theater, and we're talking about theatrical plays. So, the play that is played in the theater. And the script, of course, that is the script of a film. So, those words that are told by the actors and the actresses. And the stage, of course, the place where the actors or actresses perform. Okay. Let's move on to the next word. So we were searching for that word that was extra. And that, of course, is the art gallery. That has nothing to do with those three categories. Okay, let's move on to the next exercise. Complete the definitions. So the words that we mentioned before, we need to put them in the sentences. They are very easy for you to find out. So let's do that together. This is the example. So an opera is a musical play. The actors sing the words. Don't try to find the word unless you read until the end of the sentence. So, a or an is a very popular song. What did we say? The popular song is the hit, something that is widely listened by the listeners, by the people. Lots of people buy and or download it. Number 2, the gives instructions to the actors. Who gives instructions to the actors? Of course, the director. Number 3, a is a document with the words of a play or the film. We said that the script is that part, that the written part, that gives us all the words of the film or the play. Number 4, a or an is a long written story, like Harry Potter. So that is a novel. Number 5, you go to a cinema to watch a film. You go to a theater, though, to watch, of course, a play. We said we refer to a theatrical play. Number 6, actors perform on where? Take a look at that. that is called a stage. So they perform on a stage. And number 7, a is a very popular book. How is that called? When a book is widely sold, we said. That is called a bestseller, of course. Let's move on. We're given, again, the vocabulary. Now we have to choose, and the focus now is on films. We have to choose between the 3 alternatives, and we are given the text here. So, let's go and read together. Films I like. I don't know why people pay money to go and watch what kind of films. In order for us to decide, we need to continue. The last one I saw scared me. So since it says it scared me, of course, it's going to be our alternative. It's a horror film. So it scared me nearly to death. I prefer a good, take a look at number 2, because, so what kind of film? Because I like exploring the world of fantasy. From those, which is that type of film that gives us this feeling of exploring the world of fantasy? And that, of course, is the science fiction film. Some people argue that they aren't, so we're talking about science fiction film. So what aren't they? They aren't, of course, realistic enough. But surely that's the whole point. And some of the, look at the words, please, are amazing. I don't think that you can decide because all of them could be correct. You need to continue reading so that you can find the answer. The Dark Knight features a famous scene where a lorry flips upside down. So, since the lorry flips, it means that not the actors, not the actresses take part in these kind of scenes. These are the stunt people. So the people, they are actors and actresses, but they deal only with the difficult, with the dangerous parts of the films. Okay, let's move on. Now, it is a real driver behind the wheel. Films also need a good, take a look at the words, to get the best out of the crew. So somebody needs to direct them. Somebody needs to show them what to do. And that, of course, is the director. And my hero is Steven Spielberg. I think all his films are, can it be something positive or negative? Of course, it should be positive, since it is his hero. And the answer is fascinating, of course. He feels that Steven Spielberg is fascinating for him. Okay, let's move on. In this exercise, we need to put the words in the correct order. It's easy for you. You can find out, first of all, whether it is an affirmative or a negative or interrogative sentence. And then we decide. Take a look at the example. We have, at the very beginning, the subject, and then we continue with the verb. So Dylan has already seen Star Wars. Look at number 1. We are given the words, and of course we can see that it is an interrogative sentence. We're going to ask. So how are we going to start? Of course, with our auxiliary verb. So has, who? Who is the person? It's Katie. So has Katie seen Iron Man 3 yet? Of course, we put the time expression yet in the end, we've said, always. Let's continue. We can see that it is an affirmative sentence. So we start with the subject. Ask yourselves, who? And as we can see, it's Carl. So Carl has already seen what? The Hobbit. Number 3. It is a negative sentence, as we can see. Again, we're going to start with the subject. So who? Mia. Mia hasn't read The Hunger Games yet. We said that the time expression yet is either put It's always put in the end of the sentence, but it could be used either with interrogative sentences or negative sentences. And the last one, we can see our subject Anna. So what has Anna already done? Anna has already listened to Lana Del Rey. Let's move on to our next exercise. Now we need to put the verbs in the correct form. We have already talked about the past simple and the present perfect. And we've said that their main difference is when we ask when. If we know when something happened, then we put the verb in the past simple. If we don't know, if it is not stated, if, let's say, we don't care, then we're going to put the present perfect. And of course, the present perfect is absolutely related to the present. So, let's read the example. Pauline acted in a play last Christmas. She hasn't been in a film yet. Number 1. Karen, our verb is not see, Madonna in a concert. So we said, ask yourselves, when do we know? We don't know. So we're going to use the present perfect. So Karen hasn't seen Madonna in a concert. Number 2, actually the second one. She not go to the concert last time. When? Last time. So you need to put a past simple tense. So she didn't go to the concert last time Madonna came to Spain. Number 2. Mike, the verb is go, to the Natural History Museum last year. So when? Last year. Past simple. Mike went to the museum last year. He, can we see the time expression in the end? Yet. So of course, present perfect. He hasn't been to the Modern Art Museum yet. Becky, the verb is read, Game of Thrones. So Becky, do we know when? We don't. Present perfect. So she has read Game of Thrones. She, the verb is again read, but it's in 2010. We know when it happened. So she read it in 2010. Number 4, this is a question here, and we've got yet, we're asking, so present perfect. Have you spoken to Angela yet today? Believe it or not, she, the verb is win, the first prize in a radio competition this morning. So we know when it happened. So we're going to put the past simple form of win. So she won is a past simple. And the builders, the verb is start, work in spring. We know. So they started work in spring. It's November now, and they still haven't finished work. Okay, let's move on. We need now to choose the appropriate word, the missing word. Again, don't forget, we need to finish reading the whole sentence to understand the meaning. So, number 1, your mom has, take a look at the words, fed the dog. Don't give him any more food. So, she has done that. So, mom has just fed the dog. Present perfect. Don't give him any more food. Number 2, I writing my poem yet. So, take a look. Since I've got yet, I cannot use a past simple, so I cannot put a. I have finished or I haven't finished. We said that yet is used in negative sentences and interrogative sentences. So, I haven't finished. Alice, number 3, has already been to Paris 5 times, has just been, or has yet been to Paris 5 times. Absolutely, we cannot use. See? And now we are between already and just. Since we focus on how many times we've done something, we're going to use, of course, already. So she has already been there 5 times. Number 4. To the bookshop on Saturday. We know when. So we're going to use, of course, the past simple. So, did you go to the bookshop on Saturday? Number 5. Have you finished reading that book about the history of Facebook? Of course, that's really easy for you to find. Yet, it's in the end. And Ken and Michelle, take a look at the alternatives. To the opera last weekend. So, we need the verb in the past, of course, because it happened last weekend, it's finished, and we're going to use the past simple. So Ken and Michelle didn't go to the opera. Let's move on. For homework, I am not going to give you any extra exercises, but I would like from you, in order for you to enforce your vocabulary and grammar exercises and knowledge, I would like from you to revise as many times as possible the exercises that we just did together. Goodbye.